provides you such an opportunity to get involved at the highest level. So at the time, my former professor, Dr. Colin Young, said, why I would give you a recommendation to go and work in Europe, but I prefer you to come home in Belize and we'll look at some opportunities. And I came back as a policy and institutional expert at the ministry in 2016. A few years down the road, here I am as one of the youngest CEO in the government, and it's been such a humbling experience. It's been such an amazing experience, and again, I'm grateful to share a part of this discussion with you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Williams. So it makes me really excited to hear all of you guys talk about your experiences and your interest in the field. I mean, something that makes me very proud about saying I'm from Belize is the fact that we have so many conservation plans and how beautiful our country is in general because we have made such a great effort in keeping it that way. So something interesting with the three panelists is that you all share a common, you came here to Taiwan, a Taiwanese experience, a Taiwan experience. So I wanted to talk more about this. I wanted to ask you guys, when someone has the interest in this field, what would you recommend for them to do? I know it is such a big field. There are so many pathways in which you guys can go into. So what is your advice for someone that is coming in to the field and wants to know, what should I do, So I would like to direct this question to Mr. Wade, if you can. And please, guys, feel free to also join in with the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Asia. I think that there's two scenarios. If you're interested in environmental science and you already know what you want to specialize in, then that kind of narrows it down to you for you to be able to think, okay, what type of people I need to network it when I'm here in Taiwan. For example, talking to professors, the type of events or forums you go to, even volunteering, you find specific organizations where you can volunteer. Now, if you would think of someone like me that I was okay, I want to help people. I love the environment, but I don't know where I want, exactly in what area. There are so many stuff that I like. The only thing I can tell you is to jump in the water and try different things. That's the only way that you will know where you see yourself and where you thrive. Because I think that was something important that I think the other panelists talked about finding your passion. But you also need to be honest with yourself and see in what type of environment you thrive in. Because you can be passionate about something, but maybe your skill set also fits something else, and you're also really good at that. And I think the only way you will know what your specialty is, where you should go, is if you try to put yourself in different fields. For someone, that's my perspective on it.
Okay, guys, would anyone else like to add? Because, this, again, just going back, this is such a wide range field. There's so many branches. How important is it to specialize within the field of environmental science? So anyone can join in to the discussion.
If I could jump in, I think really the field is so broad, and I've been in it for some time, and I'm still learning the extent of the field. That is how broad it is, right? More recently, as part of the job of the CEO, I serve as either the lead or deputy lead negotiator for the government and the people of Belize in terms of the UNFCCC COP, in terms of the CBD COP, and there's a whole new field, there's a whole new world. We've recently been doing work in terms of carbon credits, and you can branch that out into whether it's green carbon or blue carbon, or biodiversity credits. There's a whole new burgeoning world, and as the whole discourse on the UNFCCC and the COP develops, there's going to be new fields that really develops. We have people within, for example, the forest department, who traditionally a forest department hires forest officers, and those forest officers deal with trees. We have expanded that department significantly, where forestry is only one component and a small component of the work that they do. But there's things like a forest engineer, there's restoration engineers, there's those who are dealing with IT and geospatial monitoring. So the field is very extensive, and as I said, while my entrance into the field were very specific, so naturally coming into the field, studying biology and chemistry, and then going into the broader environmental science in undergrad, and going to National Central to do the International Environmental Sustainable Development, you're really exposed to this very broad spectrum. And so my advice is really don't limit yourself. I think Mr. Wade said, get involved in some internship or some exposure. And even so, I came in with an interest in solid waste management, and I came out with a broader interest in environmental economics, and really looking at pay as you throw and user fees and a whole different spectrum. Similarly, with my PhD, I came in with an appreciation for I understood the environmental engineering side, I understood the economic side, but for my PhD, I wanted to get involved in the policy because that's you figure, well, I may go back to Belize and I will teach at UB, or I will teach at Galen, or whatever. And so I wanted to focus on policy, and I focused on environmental policy. But even coming out of there, the spectrum of areas that I could have focused on, and again, even where I came in terms of interest, and because the spectrum of what you learn, and the myriad of interest that is there, it really helps to develop you. The truth is, the field of environmental science is really developing. I also teach at Yale University. I encourage my students to, from the business side, to always do an environmental course. For those in the environmental side, to always do a business course, because there's this transdisciplinary approach to many things. Climate change now is not just a discussion with those of us in the field of science and environment. There's a keen discussion with the business sector. I talked about carbon credits, for example. We're not going to get to 1.5 degrees C without having private sector involved in the discussion. And so the truth is, the field is shifting. So I encourage all people interested in the field to really, try to get hands-on experience, build on your passion, certainly, because as always said, the old adage, you don't work a day if it's something you love. And so certainly build on your passion, but feel free to explore and really, try to develop those passions further.
Yes, Ms. Annalie, I know you wanted to also join in, so the floor is now yours.
Hi, I just wanted to add a little bit more to what Dr. Kendra and Mr. Anwar was talking about when it comes to how big the environmental field is, and also getting like a lot of hands-on basis experience and stuff like that. I can say that, I'm very privileged at my university to actually get a lot of hands-on basis experience, just because like my university, we have three majors, which includes climate change, watershed management, and community development. So in each one of these fields, they actually push students to actually go out into the field to get like experience and stuff, where we do like water quality testing, we do air quality testing, we learn about environmental remediation, how to take out toxins out of the soil through different processes and so forth. We learn from things from oceanography down to like making products from sustainable to how to make like products more sustainable from the entire community, how to work with a community on a one-to-one basis. So it's like, we go from like the community based back to like the ocean and back to like the terrestrial side of the environment. The environmental field is so big right now, but it's like what what Dr. Kendrick said, you just have to find your passion, and you just have to like try to be involved in all the internships, all the experience, because you never know where you're actually going to actually find your passion. Like, I am very, very grateful for like my university, and also for, for giving me all of these like experience and like all of these internships right now to get like different things. Like for example, right now I'm in Shaolio. I'm learning about, I'm learning about the island, and I'm going to be doing an underwater dive course. And after doing the underwater dive course, we will have the opportunity to do turtle identification, where we'll be gathering data for our school database. So this is one of the internship that is actually provided at my university for students, which I'm very, very very grateful for. This is something that I can actually learn here in Taiwan. I can, gather information from Taiwan and actually go back home and, be able to explore our seas. This is something that I cannot wait to actually go back home. Being in the environmental field is like having a huge passion, not only for the environment, but having a huge passion for, like every living thing and every living being. And like right now we're learning about, the corals in Xiaoliuqiu, the protection, of the environmental creatures, biodiversity, and also learning to meet with the community basis on a one-to-one level and to learn about their entrepreneurship ideas, to see how they make products in a more sustainable manner. And it's like our university actually pushes us to they want us to actually being able to what we learn in the classroom. They give us opportunities to try and see how we can apply it. Able to we want you to create a project, a product. This is what we give you. You need to create this product and see how they can use it in the community. And after using it in the community, they would actually tell you, okay, how can you get this and take it back to Uganda? How can you get this and take it back to Tanzania? We don't want it in Taiwan. Yes, we're grateful for the opportunity, but we want you to take it back to your country. So they push students to actually go out. This is actually like any environmental students on a MOFA scholarship right now, if you want to study international sustainability, with a major in climate change, watershed management, and community development, where you want to have a lot of hands-on basis in the environment. Come to Changrong Dashue, where you can be able to experience this and be a part of be a part of us and be a part with us in these experiences and so forth. So I just wanted to add a little bit more to what Dr. Kendra and Anwar had to say.
Okay, thank you for that. You guys mentioned, you have all of these opportunities here in Taiwan. So I would like you guys to speak a little bit more on what are the key skills that you get from these internships and these opportunities that will later on help you to get a job, because there are certain key qualities that employers look for in every single sector, right? What is that for environmental science? I would like to start with you, Dr. Williams.
Well, I want to behave as the employer in this discussion because I've had to, of course, employ a lot of people coming back to Belize, and some of the key things we're looking for. Listening to Ms. Chuk, for example, with her practical experiences. Again, Belize is a natural resource-based economy, right? What we are currently doing is to build the data and information that we need. So I talked earlier about the matter of carbon credits. You guys know about the matter of the blue bond and how we use that to address debt restructuring. But we can only do those real structural adjustments by the data that Ms. Chuk can bring, right? So it is that experience on the ground in terms of the data collection, in terms of the field work that can feed into databases that can inform policy. And so those are some of the key skills that we are looking for. The challenge right now with Belize is that a lot of foreigners, a lot of international experts are driving the policy decisions in Belize because of the absence of data or tools and mechanisms to inform policy, right? We are now trying to build the experience and the data and information and capacity of our local. So back to my example of carbon credits, because this is one of the bigger mechanisms that we're going to be using as a government to address some of the debt restructuring and to address sort of natural resource-based income generation for Belize. So what we need is, again, for the forest sector, for example, or the energy sector, we need people with experience in how to collect the forest data, land use and land cover change, for example, to go out there to measure the forest, to measure the changes in the forest, to understand the forest dynamics, etc. And so we have students now who are being trained in Germany, who are being trained in other parts of the world, who are able to collect that data. But we're also building the capacity within our own people here. We've recently done a first assessment, and we've been able to measure how much carbon storage that we have in terms of our overall sovereign value of carbon credits. And we've estimated that to be about $5.6 million We've done that with local capacity. 5.6 million tons, sorry. We've done that with local capacity because we trained and we build the experience in-house. That has been reviewed and approved by the UNFCCC, and so we can now use that to go to market. That's only about one aspect of what we can do, and it's only about one sector of what we can do. We can do the same for energy, we can do the same for waste, we can do the same for transport sectors, and with that we can address some of the real structural issues in Belize. So again, there are some of these nuances and new experiences and new opportunities that exist in this environmental science field that people can take advantage of, that we as a government will really, take up very fast, right? And you will be absorbed quickly into the Belizean workforce. So that's really just about one snapshot of some of the things that we're looking for, and some of the capacities that we need in Belize to help to drive some of these things. People who understand financing and green finance and sustainable finance, for example, is one of the new area that people are looking at. So it's not just understanding business and finance, but this new area of green finance, that because Belize is a natural resource economy, that is helping us to drive some of these things. If we didn't understand green finance and sustainable finance and ESG and some of the burgeoning markets, then we couldn't have negotiated a successful blue bond. So, again, some of the new opportunities that also exist for Belize, no?
Yeah, I really like what you're talking about when you say, all fields are intertwined. It's not really ideal to only be an expert in one thing. Yes, it's important to have a niche, right? But it's also very important for you to understand different aspects of something. You coming from policy, environmental policy, that has a lot to do also with politics and environment. It has a lot to do with economics and environment. So I really like that you highlighted this. But I also wanted to ask anyone else if they have any recommendations on what you need to find a specialization or combination to be better equipped for the workforce, or your ideas, because I know Annalie is still studying, but we also have Mr. Wade. What do you think about this topic?
For someone who just graduated last year and is, still trying to figure out the ropes about everything, I think I really spent the past year, the reason after graduation that I didn't think, okay, let me do my master's or stuff, is because I feel like because the environmental science field is still developing, I wanted to make sure that I'm really see what is out there. And based on trends that I saw and stuff, I could say that also something that's very important right now is data analytics. It's really growing, and for example, NGOs, even companies who work with risk analysis for sustainability, they really need data analysts right now. Also, like Dr. Williams mentioned the thing about financing, I think that could be linked to before when he mentioned that just because you're in the business field doesn't mean you can't get into sustainability or environmental science, because right now also sustainability, financing and sustainability, green auditing, all of those stuff is kind of big in companies right now, especially in Europe. I think it's something that's already developed and is still developing there, but it's something that's becoming new to the world. And like I mentioned before, if you just use media, if you look at media and you look at trends and stuff, you'll see that sustainable analysis is something that's gonna be something big in about maybe 10 years from now. Yeah. I hope that was helpful to you guys.
If I can, I know maybe Ms. Chuk wants to jump in, but I think there's two good points that Mr. Anwar highlighted. And I think one, take your time, get experience, right? There's no need to rush into a master's degree. Get experience, understand the fields, look at where the niches are. I think that's important. So there's nothing wrong with not just completing an undergrad and then I want to do my master's right away. No, get experience. And then secondly, in terms of the niche fields, in terms of the new fields that are developing, the truth is that they're developing. They're becoming real and accessible way more faster than 10 years. The people that I have discussions with as a CEO in the Ministry of Sustainable Development is with Citibank, HSBC, and all of these people who are interested in now this new ESG portfolio, the environmental social governance portfolio within their banks, within the World Bank, within the IMF, and all of these banks. As a matter of fact, we're having discussions with Taiwan. I'm going to be in Taiwan in a few weeks and having discussions with bank about looking at their market cap and what portion of that is going to be sustainable financing and what's going to be green financing and what opportunities exist. So again, there are opportunities that exist today, and that field is expanding very rapidly.
Ms. Chuk, would you like to add anything else to the conversation?
I don't really have anything in depth to add into the conversation, just because like what Dr. Kendrick said, I'm just having fun, learning and like getting all the hands-on basis experience I can get right now as a student. So I'm having fun while doing it, and I'm just grateful to be able to learn new things each and every day.
Okay, nice.